What's the wildest thing you've seen a teacher ignore? I was picking up my daughter from school when I heard screaming from the playground. Not playful screaming, the kind that makes your blood run cold. I rushed toward the sound and found a cluster of kids surrounding something on the ground. Red streaks. A small girl, maybe 7 years old, was curled up crying while an older boy stood over her with a thick tree branch, bringing it down repeatedly on her back and legs. The other children watched in frozen horror as welts began forming on her exposed skin. I looked around for supervision, expecting teachers to come running with shocked expressions. Instead, I saw Ms. Peterson casually leaning against the building, sipping coffee and chatting with another teacher, completely aware, or worse, deliberately ignoring what was happening 20 feet away. "Hey!" I shouted, my voice shaking with disbelief. "Stop that right now!" The boy looked up, grinning. The little girl whimpered, trying to crawl away. Ms. Peterson glanced over, barely showing concern. "They're working it out themselves. Kids need to learn conflict resolution." The principal walking by called out, "Is everything all right over there?" Before I could answer, the boy grabbed the girl's backpack and dumped everything out. Books, papers, and her lunch scattered across the dirt. Then he started stomping on her sandwich, grinding it into the ground while she sobbed helplessly. Ms. Peterson didn't move, didn't intervene, didn't even put down her coffee. "Ms. Peterson," my voice rose. "This child is being brutalized. You need to stop this immediately." She sighed dramatically, as if I were disrupting her break. "He's learning social boundaries. It's natural childhood development." Another parent nearby stepped forward. "That's not development, that's assault. Look at those marks on her arms." The boy had moved on to something worse. He'd found the girl's glasses in her backpack. Before anyone could stop him, he threw them against the concrete wall, shattering the lenses completely. The little girl's cries became desperate as she felt around blindly for the broken pieces. The principal rushed over. "What's happening here? Those glasses cost hundreds of dollars." Ms. Peterson finally stood up, but not to discipline the boy. Instead, she pointed at me. "This parent is interfering with our educational philosophy. He's disrupting the natural learning process." Natural learning? I couldn't contain myself anymore. "That child is injured and can't see." I pointed to the welts covering the girl's legs. Ms. Peterson looked at me with cold indifference. "If you can't handle progressive education methods, find another school." Something in me snapped. I pulled out my phone and started recording. "So you're saying it's acceptable for children to physically abuse other students?" Her eyes widened. "Stop recording on school property right now or I'll—" "You'll what?" The other parent cut in. "Call security like you should have done 5 minutes ago? I'm already calling the superintendent." Ms. Peterson's face transformed from arrogant to panicked instantly. She grabbed the boy's shoulder, the first intervention I'd seen from her, and tried to lead him away from the scene. The boy screamed and threw himself on the ground, a practiced tantrum that made her stumble backward. The principal blocked their path. "The superintendent is already en route. We have security cameras covering this entire area." Ms. Peterson changed tactics immediately. "I'm sorry, he has special needs. I'll handle this properly. Just please don't involve administration." "Too late," said the other parent, as the superintendent walked across the playground. What happened next was both satisfying and disturbing. The superintendent reviewed the footage, took statements, and photographed the girl's injuries. Ms. Peterson was suspended pending investigation for negligent supervision and child endangerment. Social services was contacted. As they escorted her off campus, she looked back at me with pure venom. "This is your fault," she hissed. "You don't understand education." "No," I replied, helping the injured girl to the nurse's office. "This is what happens when adults abandon their responsibility." The other parent nodded grimly. "Some people shouldn't work with children until they remember what protection means." I agreed, watching as the little girl was gently treated by the school nurse, finally safe from someone who'd failed her completely.